Hi, I'm Brenda Dorsey with BrenNewMedia. Thank you for watching the BrenNewMedia show. Today is my first show. I want to welcome you for watching. I have with me today Dr. Kent Moran. He's a professor here at the University of Memphis. We're here at the Earthquake Center. Thank you for being my guest. He's my first guest.
Thank you, Ms. Dorsey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So introduce yourself.
I'm a research associate here at the University of Memphis Earthquake Center. I've been researcher here for almost 20 years now, about 19 to be exact. I study the earthquakes of the central and eastern United States using the historic record and any other records I can, and help the scientific community to understand past earthquakes in this area.
Okay, that's great. Now, how many years experience? I know you said you have really been focusing here local, not even local, but on the international level of earthquakes. So we're going to start off with local, all the research that you've done local in the local Mid-South area, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're going to start off to talk about the New Madrid. Explain and tell us what is New Madrid.
Well, why we're here and why we're an earthquake center is the seismic zone here, which is called the New Madrid seismic zone, after a town in Missouri where 206 years ago a series of major earthquakes occurred called the New Madrid earthquakes. Here on this map, you'll see the zone here highlighted by this color code, and you'll see our seismic stations here, but the town of New Madrid is right there at the Missouri, Tennessee, and Kentucky junction there on the river. 206 years ago, we had 3 over magnitude 7 earthquakes that were felt across the central and eastern United States, causing damage up the Ohio River Valley, causing damage in the middle Mississippi River Valley. We were felt extensively by people all over the continent. These earthquakes were caused by a seismic zone here in the center of the country, which up until that point of time, nobody knew about, and after that point of time was forgotten until the modern era. And our job here is to try to understand what makes that seismic zone tick, why that seismic zone does what it does, and try to find out what it will try to do in the future.
Okay, so by doing your research, have you came up with a reason why? What makes this Madrid tick? Tell me again, what's the reason why this area here?
This seismic zone is an intraplate seismic zone.
Intraplate,
Seismic zones usually happen on tectonic plate boundaries. This one is a weak spot in the middle of the plate, where when the plate was formed, it formed a weak spot, concentrating stress there, and therefore it pops earthquakes on occasion. Now, we're still trying to figure the mechanism of when it can happen. The occurrence, we've pretty well gotten down to about a roughly 500-year interval between major series of earthquakes. However, within that 500 years, you can still have strong or feelable earthquakes within that 500-year window. We sort of have to wait for the next sequence to occur to know if our calendar of earthquakes is accurate, which is sort of a waiting game. We cannot predict the future in earthquakes yet. We can just tell you the probabilities and the possibilities of what might happen.
What's the possibility of Memphis? Because Memphis had a major earthquake. What was the year? 1811, 1865?
There have been a series of earthquakes actually felt in Memphis. 1811, 1812 earthquake was felt at the little fort of Fort Pickering, which was here at the time, caused damage.
That was the major. Which one was the big major earthquake that happened years ago? Was that?
Well, there was one in the 1970s at Mark Tree, Arkansas, that caused light building damage in Memphis. That also put us on the map as an earthquake center, because after that we were put into business as an earthquake center to study New Madrid seismicity, because the Mark Tree, Arkansas earthquake was right here west of Memphis, but caused damage, light damage within Memphis itself.
So, Dr. Moran, you think Memphis is going to have another major earthquake here?
We will have a feelable earthquake in our future, but as to damage, I cannot tell you. Earthquakes are like individuals in that, yes, they're all individuals, but they're all different at the same time. An earthquake can, difference in magnitude, difference in frequency, difference in directionality of how that earthquake operates, difference in where it ends up on the fault, can all be factors playing in on what that earthquake will do to your local area or the buildings in it. Other factors can be the buildings within the area, the design of those buildings, the ground that the buildings stand on, the age of the buildings. There are multiple amount of factors that can go into what can cause an earthquake to damage something. It's almost capricious by our standards, sort of like when a tornado comes through, house A, B, and C, house A gets nailed, house B slightly damaged, house C untouched. And they may be different designs, or the tornado just managed to pick the wrong house. Earthquakes can be that way also, except that your damage is coming up from the ground, not from the sky or from the air.
Is there a certain part of Memphis, since we're talking about the local area first, is there a certain part of the Memphis area that you think will get the most damage if we have an earthquake here in the Mid-South?
That I cannot tell you, because it almost, you have to get a structural engineer to look at that spot and tell you what you're going to get. Because we do know that you will get, with enough magnitude, damage within the Memphis area. But the specific damage to the certain parts, that you almost have to eyeball it and do so. Because it can be very site specific to your spot.
Okay. I mean, we might be getting a little off the topic, but say, for instance, if we have an earthquake here, what should people do? I know a lot of us here in Memphis, we're not prepared for a earthquake, like a major earthquake that caused damages, and we're not prepared here.
Preparedness here will be basically to be aware you're having an earthquake, cover yourself during the earthquake to prevent whatever damage the building is doing not to damage you. Leave the building after the earthquake. Have a emergency plan where you can gather your family or friends together, because some damaging earthquake can damage the utilities and our electrical system. To have emergency supplies. If you have medicine, make sure you have a way that it can keep. If you have foodstuffs that don't need refrigeration, that sort of thing. Have a way to communicate with other people, to gather your relatives or friends together to help together and just pull together, because it will be a community-wide thing if we have enough damage where we all have to pull together to help each other.
We all have to pull together to help each other. It's like we need to have a backpack, and we need to have I heard that we need to have some cash money because the ATM machines could be down.
It's like what you would have for any other natural disaster, windstorm, tornado, or power outage kind of thing, except this is coming up from the ground, not from some other avenue. But any emergency planning you've done for other natural events will blend in for earthquakes. The difference being is that earthquakes will come unannounced, where with storms, we now have the luxury of having some warning now. And earthquakes, though, we cannot do that, unfortunately, yet. We can tell you you have a seismic zone. We can tell you it has earthquakes. We can tell you the past of those earthquakes, but we cannot tell you the tomorrow, except that you have a pattern of earthquakes from the past. And we wish we could give you more certainty, and we cannot at this point. You cannot.
By your research, the most earthquake happens is the morning, evening, nights.
What's interesting is earthquakes tend to be more feelable at night, but you were giving me your example that you felt earlier in time.
Yes.
And the reason is it's quiet at night. People are asleep. If the ground starts rumbling, it wakes you up. And in the daytime, we're hustling and bustling around, airplane, all the noise of an urban area. You will not feel an earthquake. I'll give you another good example. A couple of years ago, we had a magnitude 3 up at New Madrid in the middle of the 4th of July celebrations. Nobody reported it because with all the fireworks displays going off all over the region, it got lost in the shuffle. All the banging, booming, and fireworks basically meant that nobody noticed that you had a feelable earthquake in the middle of all the celebrations. So it's a matter of timing, and the matter of is what's there at the time it happens. Or if you're having like a thunderstorm or something like that, we've had before where you have a weather event going on, like a thunderstorm or whatever, where nobody noticed there was an earthquake in the midst of that. Just because there's so much else going on, it gets lost in the shuffle.
Okay. You were telling me about when you were doing your research, a couple of things that you came across that no one knew about.
Well, one of the things I've come across is that what really surprised me is that the New Madrid earthquakes were felt over such a wide, vast region. We've found reports from Florida, Louisiana, Texas border, Canadian border, up into Minnesota, all across the east coast of the United States, and people were feeling them very, very, very good. The other thing that we found about these earthquakes is that the damage in the Mississippi River area was covered up by later floods and natural events to the point that it erased the damage until we've come back in the modern era to look for it and find what that damage was. It helped us to calibrate how strong the earthquakes are. For X amount of earthquake, you get X amount of damage in the ground, but you have to look for it.
Okay, Dr. Moran, how many earthquakes we have a day? Is there a certain amount of earthquakes?
I can tell you, on average, we have maybe 2, maybe 3 a week. Sometimes it's busy, sometimes it's not.
2 or 3 a week.
We have over 100 a year.
And people didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know we had like earthquakes like, you know, every day or so many, a certain amount every week. I didn't know that.
Like on, what was it, Saturday, we had a magnitude 2.7 up at New Madrid. Happened Saturday evening.
Saturday evening?
Uh-huh. But that's common. Part of my job is to keep track of those for the public, like you.
Okay.
And that's why I could tell you, the public, that we've had an earthquake. But we have a website with the map of it, and we also have a Facebook page where we put out that, and also a Twitter feed to feed that to emergency agencies and such, where we get the word out. And those systems are there, and we maintain them to get the word out to people of these earthquakes as they occur.
Dr. Moran, what is your address for public if they want information? What is your website?
Okay, it's www, of course, seri.memphis.edu.
Say that one more time.
Seri.memphis.edu.
Seri, could you?
CERI.memphis.edu.
CERI.
People will mispronounce it as S, and it's not. It's Center for Earthquake Research and Information.
Thank you very much. If you want more information on earthquakes, you can go to Dr. Moran's page and get all the knowledge.
We have a link page for that earthquake, and we'll change that out as events warrant to put up the latest, most newsworthy earthquake we've had in the local area.
Because we want to bring awareness, and we're talking about the Mid-South area here. Now, we're talking about the Mid-South area. If you want to be up to date on what's going on with the earthquakes, you can go to his website and you can keep up with what's going on in the Mid-South with earthquakes. Dr. Moran, now give us some more knowledge. You were talking about on the international level now. So give us some knowledge on the international level, on your research that
well, for instance, it's international in that I correspond with people in Canada. I've dealt with people in Europe, because the information from those events and what's happened on this continent is spread everywhere else, and we swap information. If somebody has an inquiry from somewhere else, I will deal with that. They will swap information with me. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, I got a map basically done of the Mississippi River Valley pre-New Madrid earthquake that was done by a French engineer working for the Spanish government prior to the Spanish selling the land back to the French, who in turn sold it to the Americans for the Louisiana Purchase. But the map is valuable because it shows everything in this area prior to the earthquakes and prior to the damage.
Hold that thought. We're going to come right back to you so you can elaborate some more on that. That's very interesting. Before break, we were talking about the international knowledge of earthquakes. So, Dr. Moran, let's pick up where we left off at. You was explaining to us about the international knowledge of earthquakes. So, continue.
With the map that we had previous, which was just the United States, for sense of perspective, we are here. That yellow dot is the magnitude 2.7 earthquake we had at New Madrid the other day, just to give you a sense.
And that area is in the Mid-South.
In the Mid-South area, right there.
Okay.
However, you'll notice the red lines, which are around all the continents. Those are the tectonic plate boundaries. You'll notice the yellow dots, which are earthquakes of the past week globally.
May I stop and ask you a question for the people that maybe they don't know what is the tectonic plate boundaries? What is the plate boundaries? Because might be someone out there they don't really know, have the knowledge.
Plate boundaries are that the continents are made up of crustal plates, and the boundaries, these boundary lines are where these plates bang into each other, will grind up against each other, collide with each other. There are all sorts of variations in what they do. A school child told me once, it's sort of like large-scale bumper cars.
Like bumper cars.
like where they're bumping or grinding up against each other. These tectonic plates all have the potential to have very, very large earthquakes because you have continental scale stresses building up on them.
Okay.
For instance, you'll see here plate boundary one here, some here in Chile, there, but where you have the boundaries, that's where they're normally concentrated.
Because now let's explain the yellow. What's the yellow dot stand for?
The yellow dots stand for earthquake epicenters. And if you have your computer up and running and have the website going, you can click on these yellow dots and bring up the data page for each individual earthquake. For instance, within the past hour, we've had an earthquake here, which is the red dot, which will stay red for an hour. You click on it, and it will bring up the data page. There's also a list of the current earthquakes here. You can click there, and it'll bring it up that way also.
So, Dr. Moran, you said this red dot stands for, we just had an earthquake about less than an hour.
Less than an hour ago.
And it happened where?
In the Philippines, magnitude 4.5.
And it was a 4.5 magnitude.
The other thing is the dots, basically the bigger the dot, the higher the magnitude.
The larger the dot.
Smaller the dot, the smaller the magnitude. So what you're getting is it's a nice graphic way to, at a glance, see what's going on the globe. If you have a red dot, you know it's immediate. If it's a big dot, it's a big magnitude. Small dot, small magnitude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so
the smaller the dot,
smaller
the magnitude.
Right.
The larger the yellow dot was the larger
the magnitude.
The magnitude of the earthquake.
See, this dot here is a little bit bigger magnitude than the 4.5.
Okay.
And a big earthquake will have a big dot to it. There was a magnitude 7 last week down here near Fiji, which had a big dot to it, but you knew obviously at a glance you had a large earthquake.
Okay, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
But the data page, this has come a long way from the flat map that we had over there to these data pages like that now.
So there's a new technology.
This is new technology. It is constantly being updated. They add more and more data on the data pages for these. Another thing is that if you felt an earthquake, you can go, they'll have a subset of the page where you can get on the internet, report what you felt during the earthquake, your experiences for that earthquake, and that helps the scientists to help calibrate what we know about those earthquakes.
Well, so that was years ago. Years ago, how did you keep up with the research on earthquakes years ago?
Years ago, what would happen is if we had a feelable earthquake in this area, we'd man the phones, people would call us, we'd take notebooks and log it all down. But now with the internet, if we have a feelable earthquake here, we have the internet page, you go to that page, you just type in a little information form, and it gathers it up in databases and has it ready to go for further analysis. And with digitization of everything to the point we have the seismic signal digitized and stored, it's all archived the minute the earthquake happens. So it's ready for reuse for further research down the line. Gathering information for earthquakes is sort of become easier. The hard part is still analysis. That takes time. Computing power, manpower, and time to analyze an earthquake after it's happened.
Okay, all right. So now explain, you were telling me the information over there.
The information, these are the most recent earthquakes, and red dot being the last one. Then you had one here in Alaska, which was right up here, because that happened prior to us filming this morning, and it had a red dot, and that's faded away now, but that was the magnitude 3.2 that's up here.
How long the red dot stayed there before it turns to a yellow dot?
1 hour duration.
Duration of 1 hour.
So you know that within an hour is the most recent earthquake, and then it goes away and will turn yellow. And some earthquake warning programs, I've seen others have variations on colors, you have multiple dots, but the USGS one's nice and simple. It's red if it's an hour, it's yellow if it's not.
What's the largest red dot you've seen?
I've seen magnitude 7s. I've seen near magnitude 8 before, and those are very big dots.
Very big dots.
Yes, but you know at a glance that's been a big earthquake. You know, you can check the data page for all the information on it, and we'll have everything you need to know about that earthquake and then some. Even the press reports from the media will be linked in. Just a one-stop shopping spot for information on that earthquake.
Okay, thank you. How often do you keep up with this, with the earthquake database?
All the time. Well, you never get away from it. Earthquakes.
It's so interesting. It's like
earthquakes do not stop for the weekend. They do not stop at night. Because it is a global phenomena, they happen even when you're asleep, and I constantly keep track of it basically for our education outreach efforts, because people will call and ask us, and go ahead and try to be ready with information for people.
This is the place to ask questions, and that's Dr. Moran. He has lots of knowledge on earthquake here at the University of Memphis. Did you want to say something else?
Well, our job is to inform the public, because if the public is not informed, that is not a good place for the public to be. And our job is to help the public be informed about earthquakes, about the seismicity of the region, to make informed decisions about seismicity in this region. But part of our job is to gather data, but part of our job is to disseminate that data in a usable form to everybody. My job is to disseminate it to civic groups, school groups, individuals, to the media, to where you guys have an awareness of what does go on.
Do you go out to various schools?
I go out to schools and
do you have workshops also?
We have workshops also, and the job is to get the information out there.
Make awareness to the public.
Information that is not accessed is useless to people. And the idea is to make it usable, make it accessible, make it informative, to make sure people know.
Dr. Moran, I just have something to say. I think we really need to be prepared with getting things prepared for earthquake, because there's a lot of people out there, they're not prepared, we're not prepared. We don't know the first thing to do if there's a major earthquake. People, they don't have like a backpack ready, they don't have their medicine ready. It's just going to be a major disaster. That's what it's going to be. So that's the reason why we need to focus more on
awareness. Helps people, because not knowing what you're facing will hurt people more than knowing what you're facing.
Well, that's true too, yes.
And the surprise factor of an earthquake is the factor that we try to help mitigate against, because earthquakes, being what they are, come as a surprise. And surprised people, knowledge will help factor in that surprise and help people in the long run.
Thank you so much. You know, Dr. Moran, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that, because I am not prepared if we have an earthquake, and I'm quite sure I'm not the only one that's not prepared. But what I need to do is get things ready in case, well, I know there will be an earthquake here. Mm-hmm. So I need to get things ready, because it's most definitely going to happen here in the Mid-South.
Yes, ma'am.
So please, people, please, 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 get things ready. Get prepared for earthquake here in the Mid-South. And tell us again what we need to have.
An emergency kit.
Emergency kit.
A plan to contact your friends and family and get together. A means of communication. And just be ready to deal with it as any other natural disaster, like a storm, except this is a different kind of storm with way less warning.
Thank you. Dr. Moran, I'm going to give you the honor of pulling the name. I had a little drawing. I told everyone, whoever hit like or comment love on the BrenNewMedia Facebook page, we're gonna give them a prize. Yeah, we're gonna make it fun here on the BrenNewMedia show. We want everybody to tune in, because we always gonna give some really great information, informative information. This show is going to be a fun show. It's gonna be a show like, I gotta go make sure I watch that BrenNewMedia show. So Dr. Moran, you have the honor of pulling that person's name today. Let's see, Dr. Moran, let's see whose name you're gonna pull today. Come on now, come on. Come on, Dr. Moran, let's see who name. Make sure you, hey, Dr. Moran, hey.
Oh no,
you gotta shuffle
them.
Yeah, shuffle around now.
Shuffling.
Okay.
I'm not peeking.
You're not peeking.
So let's see, find an individual.
All right.
I have one.
Ta-da.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And Hayam Elm.
Oh, that's my Facebook friend.
Oh, okay.
Hayam, Hayam. Her last name is
ELMAGHRABEG.
Congratulations. She's my Facebook friend. Congratulations. I am so happy for you. Tune in. We always will have exciting things here on the Brand New Media Show. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Brand New Media Show.